Zinc is the best waterproofing for your balcony. Here I'm busy soldering the corners. And yes, you have to manage the correct temperature with your soldering iron. Otherwise, you'll go through the zinc. Always use zinc gel. That ensures you have good adhesion. And here I have used 50-50 solder. That means 50% tin and 50% lead. Here I'm cutting the edges to size. And I wanted to have as few extra corners as possible. So I've tried to make everything from one piece. The advantage of this is that you have fewer corners and less soldered seam. This is what I use to clean my bolt. I spread it nicely in the corner. Make sure you attach it very neatly throughout, and then you can give it a few stitches here and there with the soldering iron. Press it on well to get a good capillary effect. And this also gives you a very strong soldered seam. Here I sneak it in again with solder gel. And then you place your soldering iron on the flowing part and you keep adding solder. And so you get a very nice solder seam. I have a special gas mask on to protect myself from harmful gases. Because if you're soldering all day, believe me, it's really not healthy. So just do it. Here I am giving some stitches again. And that ensures that the zinc stays in place. And that it stays tight against each other. And in between, I'm constantly tapping it into shape. Here I am soldering the vertical seam. And I'm doing it here the Rotterdam way. I let it flow well first and then I pull it back. And because of this, you get a very strong vertical seam. Here I continue with the lying seam. And as you can see, I'm soldering that very quietly and structured so that you have a very strong seam. Make sure that you attach your solder properly and that your seam doesn't tear open. When you're done, you can just clean it with a damp cloth. Here I'm going to move on to the corners, and I try to make it in one piece as much as possible, to have as few loose pieces as possible. It was quite a hot day and the sun was shining. And with the new zinc, it gets twice as hot. This solder build that I use is really super handy. It's a point build, and if you keep it at the right temperature, you can draw really nice seams. As you can see here, here I am just backing. That's what we call it. If you apply zinc correctly, it can last more than 30 years. So it's a really durable material. It is much better than bitumen, because I sometimes see that balconies are simply covered with bitumen. I always don't like that. Sometimes this is done to save costs. Only in the long term is real zinc much better. It also looks much nicer, and the craftsmanship of that is really super cool to do. Here I could choose to place a separate corner. Only I didn't want to. I used my special supposer roller for this. You get very tight angles. Plus, you'll have fewer soldering seams and therefore less chance of leaks. Zinc should not be skewered in a tight spot. Crochet though, this ensures that your zinc can simply expand and that it can't blow away. I'm almost done here. And it turned out really great. The customer is super happy. And I'm really proud of my piece. Let me know if you love that too, or nothing at all.